we cooking today? Or better yet, what's for lunch? For those of you who don't know me yet, I'm Nadia Frenia-Becker, and this is Nadia Cooks. It's a pleasure to have you listening to news stories, expatriates, of course in different countries, otherwise they wouldn't be expatriates, people who love food. And today I have the pleasure of talking to Mauro Vaisman. He's an expat just like me who changed careers recently and had the amazing idea of bringing us goodies online, especially now in this pandemic, that we really need our goodies to be delivered to our home. So Mauro, it's a pleasure to having you here. Tell us your story, how you came from Rio to Minnesota, just like the bird from the animation Blue from Rio to a freezing place in this country. But go ahead, tell us your story.
Okay, so in 1986, I was on my third year of medical school and not happy with the current situation of the country. At the time, Brazil was still a new democracy. It was going to be the first year of democracy. The president was in transition. As a matter of fact, he died right before transitioning. And I just wanted to quit and leave. So my parents gave me the great idea that learning a language would be helpful. And I took the challenge. And I moved to Minneapolis. And why Minneapolis? Because we had a third cousin of my grandfather who immigrated from Russia to Minneapolis.
Oh.
At the time that my grandfather immigrated from Russia to Brazil.
Okay.
So someone at least, related.
Okay.
Who I never met.
Okay. And you probably at that time, look, there was no cell phone, there was no internet, right?
No internet, pretty much no computers, right?
Yes.
So since she was 80-something years old, the deal was I'll live with her and help her at home, and do some housework and take the ESL, the English as a second language,
of course,
for 9 months.
Wow.
That was my visa period.
Mm-hmm.
But the school was about an hour away on a bus ride, so I was not too happy about it because she lived in the suburbs. But again, I started, and did not speak the language, so it was very challenging. But there were no Brazilians in Minneapolis. It was very hard to find someone that even spoke Spanish.
I can imagine. Mauro, so you were in college, but could you drive or did you have to take the bus?
No, I had to take the bus.
Okay, so I'm guessing this is 9 months. You probably experienced a lot of cold, right?
A lot of cold.
Now I'm curious. This is the late 80s. What was the food back then? What were you used to? Because she was far out, and did you have to go places to pick up whatever you produce, whatever you have at home?
Since I've never been to a kitchen when I lived in Brazil,
okay.
Cooking was very challenging.
Okay.
So I had a lot of frozen pizza.
Okay.
A lot of ramen noodles.
Okay.
A lot of spaghetti.
Okay.
One day, I decided to make the famous Brazilian stew, the feijoada.
Okay.
So I went to the grocery store and I bought, at the time they had no black beans. The only beans they had was baked beans, which I had no idea what it was.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. I wouldn't imagine you could find black beans. You found bacon, but
no, it was baked beans. Baked beans is what you eat in American picnics, which is pure sugar and maple syrup.
Yes. Okay.
But I didn't know.
Okay.
So I got the minute rice. I made a whole pan of rice, and the beans were wonderful, looked great. And until I put it in my mouth, it was like I was eating dessert. So not a good experience.
Okay.
So the closest I could get to Brazilian food was Taco Bell.
Okay. Okay. So
which I've never been before. In the 80s, nobody in Brazil knew what a taco was or burrito was.
Of course.
But they had beans.
Okay. Yes. Well, they had to this day. It's very close because it's rice, beans, meat.
Exactly.
Onions, peppers. But it's very we don't eat tacos. We don't eat the quesadillas. But
exactly.
Okay. I'm guessing it's closer to you. Was closer to that. But then you met. So you went to. Did you go to graduate school? Did you finish your studies?
No. I quit medical school. Well, before I quit, I actually was. I was kind of in denial that I wanted to quit. I had no courage to quit. That's the truth. So I started learning the language.
Okay.
And I started on English 101 and listening 101 and grammar 101. And it was very challenging, but I started to learn. And that was a good feeling because I thought it was never going to happen.
Okay.
9 months for me was just going to, I'm going to gain some time and decide what I'm going to do with my life. I had no intentions of living here.
Okay.
I just wanted to gain some time and decide what to do next. So after 6 months, I took some tests, the TOEFL and some Michigan, whatever. And they came to me. It was like a big ceremony. They gave me an envelope and everybody everybody clapped and everything, and everybody was getting the certificates. And they told me, what's next? I was like, what do you mean, what's next? And she said, you're done. You passed everything. I said, no, I have 3 more months. And they said, no, you're done.
Did you have to go back home?
And I said, I don't want to go back home. And she said, well, how many schools did you apply for?
You haven't applied?
I said, what do you mean? I didn't apply for the schools. She says, well, so you have to go home.
No.
Anyways, to make the story short,
yeah.
They extended the application period for me. In 2 days, I had to translate all my documentations, and I applied for school to study journalism.
Oh, nice. Yeah, well, I forgot to tell everyone, but before, so we met when you were at Bloomberg. And
actually, we met when we were at Business Week, and then I moved to Bloomberg.
Business Week, before Bloomberg. Yeah. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I apologize. Yes. Yeah. And right next door to each other on 6th Avenue.
Exactly. So I thought I was never going to get in. You know, there was just another month waiting for the application to go through, and I was just going to have to go home. And my parents knew nothing about it.
Of course.
They just thought I was going to stay an extra 3 months. And then one day I just got this big fat envelope saying, congratulations, you got accepted. And then I looked at myself in the mirror and says, what am I going to do now?
Yes.
It's like, I don't know the language enough to study journalism. I don't have the money to pay for school. Pretty challenging.
Yes. Especially because now you had to tell your parents that.
Exactly. Yeah, actually, I didn't call my parents because at the time it was like $1.50 a minute.
Or 30 seconds, yes. It was
and I had a lot to say. So what I did is I made a tape, a cassette tape.
Uh-huh.
A 1-hour tape, both sides, explaining what I wanted to do.
Okay.
So they got the tape, 10 days later.
Yes, because everything used to go through snail mail.
And they called me and said, we're very happy. We're sending you another tape.
No.
I mean, if you talk for an hour, it would be cheaper to come over here by plane.
Yes, of course.
It was very expensive. So they sent me the tape and, very happy with the challenge and everything was going to work out and everything. And they said, we can pay for your school for 1 year.
Okay, but then after
1 year, you're going to have to figure out a way to do it.
Okay.
So at that time, I figured I was doing well in school. I still did not know how to pay the second year, so I did a lot of odd jobs.
Mm-hmm. Okay, like every immigrant does. We do everything that other people don't want to do it. We end up doing it.
I learned how to wash dishes very well. I learned how to paint. I learned how to remove wallpaper and cut grass and all that stuff. And I had permission to work at the time, which was very unusual because they usually did not give permission. International students could work 20 hours a week.
That's different. It kept. I think, Mauro, it kept on changing because when I graduated almost 20 years ago, we could work for a year. It was like our internship or, but I know it keeps on changing. But it's interesting that you had the opportunity to do it.
And the reason I had it was at that time, Brazil was changing government. And new government blocked everybody's funds. So nobody could send money abroad and nobody could even take money from the banks. So the economy was pretty much frozen.
Yeah.
Even if my father or my mother wanted to send me money, they could not. So I went to the immigration department. At the time, nobody feared immigration like they do today.
Of course.
Different times.
Yeah.
So I went to the immigration department and I said, the situation changed and I don't know how I'm going to pay for school and food and rent. And they pretty much said, so what are you going to do? You told me you could. And I said, well, no, I can't. The situation changed. And he didn't believe me. He said, why don't you go and come back with some proof that things are really that bad in Brazil?
No.
Yeah. So I went to the library and I got the microfilm for the New York Times.
Okay.
And I found a great story of a retiree going inside the bank with his Jeep. So half of his Jeep was inside the bank. He literally broke the walls because he was desperate to get his own money out of the bank.
Of course. I remember that in Brazil.
Nobody had a dime.
Yeah,
there was no...
Yeah, Mauro, I remember to me what happened, I was young and all the money I had in my savings account got frozen. And when they unfroze it, if I got 10% of the total money I had, I got out with a lot. So, dear listeners, if we'll get, and there's another, my friend Leo, who was in the other podcast, he knows a lot about history. He's going to give us a little more insight of the fun crisis one day. But Mauro, it's unbelievable, no? If you think that it frees everyone, it don't freeze Brazil alone. It frees everything else that depends on it.
The whole economy economy was frozen.
Yeah.
But it was a way to control the inflation that was, I don't know, about 800% a month or something. It was insane, yeah.
It was insane, 1,000% a year, something like that.
So I got permission to work.
Oh, very nice.
I got a social security number, and I didn't have a green card. I was not a resident, but I could work.
Then by then you had more than baked beans? Did you have more access to different food or not yet?
No, it was that was 87, 88.
Okay, so still frozen pizza.
Still frozen pizza.
Okay.
And a lot of manual labor.
Okay. What about at 7-Eleven? Did they have food by then? Did you have a lot of 7-Elevens by you?
No.
No. Okay.
I was in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
To walk somewhere, at 10 below zero, being from Rio was very challenging.
Yeah, I can imagine. Especially from Rio.
It was the first time I wore a jacket.
I don't know how you survived,
It was the first time I wore a jacket, the first time I owned a pair of boots. It was really interesting. And in Minneapolis, cold is cold. If you're out for more than half an hour, you can die.
Okay.
In the suburbs. It's not like, it's very cold, let me get an extra jacket. No, it was dangerous. Some days were dangerous. They cancel schools not because of snow, but because of the cold.
I can imagine. The other day I was talking to, not the other day, in January, I was talking to one of our colleagues, and the guy said, the sensation is like 45 Fahrenheit below zero, something like an enormous amount of cold that I cannot imagine. You're telling me the stories that when it's 40 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 4 degrees Celsius, everyone goes out in flip-flops because they're happy about it.
When spring comes, which is 45 degrees, people go to school with no shoes. I'm not talking flip-flops, I'm talking no shoes. Because they were wearing boots for so long. It goes from like October to April.
Wow.
So it's I don't know how the weather's changing a lot. So I don't know if it's still like that, but it was very challenging. So going back to as a student.
Okay.
I went back so then I was doing very well in school, and I figured out that there was a school that was better than University of Minnesota for journalism.
Okay.
And I wanted to transfer. So again, another crazy thing, I transferred.
And you needed all the paperwork in no time.
Paperwork, no time. I just applied, like at that time you didn't apply online. I just had to do everything with a typewriter.
And deliver the paper, or mail.
And deliver the mail and just pray they'll get there and get something back. So I got accepted to the school. And Missouri was kind of weird because even though it's the Midwest, it was more like the South.
I didn't know.
I noticed a lot of difference there. You have some cities there that they border with Arkansas. So it was really was eye-opening for me because I consider myself to be a pretty liberal person, but over there they were not as liberal.
Okay.
Even though the school was, when you're in universities, it's a very liberal place, but it was a different experience for me. So when I got there, I said, okay, now I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to pay for this. Believe it or not, I just met a guy walking around. He was from Bangladesh.
Wow.
And he saw me
in Missouri.
In school. Yeah, he's on campus. And he was the president of the International Student Association.
Okay.
And he was recruiting people around the international office that were doing the paperwork and stuff. So he said, would you like to go to a meeting? We do a lot of programming. We fight for the international students' rights and all that. And I never knew what a committee was or anything like that. At my time, if you belong to one of those, you're a communist and you go to jail. So I didn't know that could be actually something good.
Okay. Yeah, well, it's diversity. I think some people see diversity in different ways, right? And some people are afraid of it. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I went to the meeting, and they had a lot of interesting programming. At the time, it was in 88, 89. The German wall was coming down. The Chinese revolution was happening. There was a lot happening. In international students, there were a lot to talk about. A lot of people we could bring to give speeches from different countries and all that stuff. They had a pretty hefty budget. It was
good.
Like $30,000 just for a bunch of students to decide what to do. So I was a member of the committee for a while, for like 2-3 months. And then he came to me and says, Mauro, you know what? I like you. I'm going to resign because I'm graduating. Would you like to apply for my job? And I was like, a job? This is a job? I didn't know it was a job. I'm here volunteering. He said, no, it's not only a job, but there's a good chance you're going to get free school.
Wow, that's nice.
I was like, oh my God, I'm going to apply for this like it was, like it's last thing I'm going to do in my life. And I thought my chances were not good because there was a lot of people there that have been doing this for a while, and I didn't even know what it was when I came in. But I applied, and luckily I got it.
Wow.
So I have free schooling after that. Free school, free insurance, free everything.
Good. Wait, did you have catering in campus? The cafe. How was the cafe?
The food was so bad. It was so bad. I remember the burgers floating in this liquid. It was hard. The only thing I could eat at the cafeteria was grilled cheese.
Okay.
And it's funny because my kids today, they both go to college in the U.S. And now they have a sushi area.
Yes.
They have a fresh pasta area. It really changed a lot.
Yeah, that's what I
for
was
the
going to
price,
ask.
yeah.
It's good. I know your youngest is still in undergraduate school and your oldest is in graduate school. How do they relate? When you sit down and you guys talk, how, besides, I see it's different. I didn't know that there was so many options for them.
It's incredible. I mean, you can literally pick something from the menu online.
Okay.
And when you get there, your food is ready.
Wow. Okay, that's good.
And when I'm talking menu, I'm talking like you can get vegetarian, you can get kosher food, you can get Asian fusion, they call it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of stuff. Yes, they charge for it, but it's part of the deal, I guess. And they'll have those cafeterias in like every couple blocks. Because, I mean, the school is big, about 40,000 kids.
Yeah, so I guess bigger schools have more. But how big was the university in Missouri?
It was big, but the times were different, Remember, bread was you could buy sliced bread. That was it.
Okay.
Now you can get French bread as good as in France.
Yes. Yeah, it's true.
So things really changed a lot. You can buy a lot more today than years ago, right? Yeah. So you can have a beautiful ham with cheese. Before it was American cheese and ham that's full of water. It was just not good. It changed quite a bit.
But then you were doing all of that and you get the job. How much do you miss home? Or you didn't have time to think about that yet?
No, I miss home a lot. I was mama's boy. I love my father. I never traveled by myself until I moved to the U.S. It was the first time I ever flew by myself or went anywhere by myself.
That's interesting.
So it was literally the first time I was away from my parents. Every time I travel with them.
Okay, now, of course, your kids are grown. How do you feel? So when you go visit Brazil, you love it. But do you feel like you have to come back soon?
I don't think I can. I don't think I can adapt to the mess over there, to tell the truth. I mean, I'm sorry about all the Brazilians listening to this, but
it's complicated.
I mean, you get used to rules, you get used to following the rules, and you get used to respect. Even though here I'm an American citizen, but I'm not an American-born citizen, so there is a difference.
Yes.
I have blonde hair and blue eyes, but when I open my mouth, I am a foreigner.
Yeah, I get it. I understand.
So I still feel it. And in Brazil, I'm a foreigner too. Because
in Brazil, you're blonde, blue eyes. You're not a carioca. I'm sorry. I mean, you are. Of course, you are. But you don't have the stereotypes of them. Yeah.
No,
you don't. I bet you don't tan as well as all the cariocas do.
No, but I did a little. I did actually. I used to surf.
Okay.
So I was a different person there. That's for sure. But in my classroom, I was the only one with light hair.
Yeah, and blue eyes. See, okay, so that's because you're in Rio. In the South, you'll be just one of us. It's fine.
Yeah.
But Mauro, so you graduated, you studied journalism, you were in the media, and now recently you opened your own business, your own online store. How does that feel? Give us examples of how people reach out to you. And honestly, I'm very happy, and I have to tell everyone who's listening to us, I was the first one to chat Mauro and say, Mauro, please, my erva mate, because I cannot live without this, okay? I moved, so before when I was in Queens, I could find erva mate in every kind of Brazilian place. Now, here in Long Island, I can only find them in maybe a Portuguese supermarket or two. I rather buy it online from somebody I know. Mauro is he's on the quest to find me my best erva mates. Tell us about things of Brazil.
Yeah, so in 1990, I moved to New York.
Uh-huh.
And I worked in publishing for 29 years.
Wow.
And my last job was at Bloomberg in journalism as well. And after working there for 10 years, it was just time for me to do something else. I'm in my mid-50s right now. So it was, at the time, it was January, February. And I just don't want to hit you and say, you know what, I need to do something with my life. I can't just do this for the rest of my life. It's not that I was unhappy, but I was not doing something that I enjoyed as much anymore. It was just, in a way, it was even too easy for me. My kids were in last year of college, both of them, so I didn't have to worry about that. I have my house, I have my cars, and making a lot of money was not the goal this time. Mm-hmm. The goal was to look for a happier life. And I guess you do that when you reach your 50s,
Okay, I'm almost there.
So my wife has a steady job. She works for a school, for university actually. And we talked a lot. We talked with the kids. It's going to be a lot of money that's not going to be coming home anymore. But it's going to be a happier life. And
you took the challenge when the world was going into a pandemic, but we didn't know it was a pandemic, right?
That was right before that at the time, actually. I knew I wanted to do something, but I still didn't know what to do. So I ordered some food from a Brazilian store online.
Okay.
And the service was so bad.
Okay, I cannot name it.
Clicked.
But I have to tell you, I had that experience before. And it sucks. It sucks. Those guys have been the only... Think about it. There are some Brazilian stores, right, who've been there forever. And it's 2020. They don't have the e-commerce yet. And then the world goes into the pandemic. You place an order. There is no tracking. There is no confirmation. You cannot go back. Nothing. When I saw yours, I got so happy.
So I decided to, you know what? I've never sold anything. I never ran a grocery store. I never started an online business. So I said, you know what? That's a perfect challenge. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do it.
But Mauro, you also have the experience of, publishing. You were online for a while, right?
Yeah, I was online for a long time, but I never did e-commerce myself. There was some things literally, how do I start? Mm-hmm. I had to watch videos on how to start. I knew what the store needed to be. I know people needed to be respected. I know people wanted to have the family feeling that you're not buying from Amazon. Mm-hmm. I wanted them to have the products come to them with the right expiration date.
Yes.
If they're on sale, they're not on sale because they're expiring. If I'm giving something for free with your purchase, it's not because it expired. And the shipping is free over $50, which nobody does it. Am I making money? Absolutely not. But am I making a difference? Absolutely yes.
Okay,
because the feedback I'm getting from people is insane. I mean, people call me and they just say, when your box got to my house, I cried.
Aww.
And I'm hearing so much of that. I mean, they're sending me videos. They're posting videos on Instagram of the whole family opening the box. And those are people that paid for the box. I'm not giving them for free. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they put the whole family together and they film the opening of the box and the kids screaming and fighting for the chocolates and all that. And I was like, you know what? That's exactly what I wanted. And I've been in business for 4 months right now, and I didn't get one return.
That's good. That's excellent. And I have to tell you, your story is very compelling. And for anyone who's going through the pandemic and they need a new north, they need something else to do, it's really good to listen to somebody who, you just said it, you're making money? No, right? No, not now. It's just the beginning. But you are really getting to know the people. Your clients like you. And I think that's what we're missing now. You're missing connections, right? And going back to what I was asking before about how food has changed and how do you miss home? I think that if people go to your store and they will choose the products, when they get the products at their home, it is that connection that they're missing. I'm telling you, it's the cookies that I used to eat when I was young. And then now you have the opportunity to give it to your child and have your child try it. Or get my erva mate so my daughter drinks it every morning with me. You're helping promote the cultures as well.
I think you have to be an immigrant to know how much that is important for you.
Yes.
That's one thing. And you know what? You don't have to be an immigrant from a different country. You can be an immigrant from a different state.
Yes.
You have people from the south that come north, they miss the grits, they miss there's food everywhere that if you cannot find where you are, when you eat it, you are bringing home to your house,
I have my colleagues from the south and it's funny, Sterling, one of my colleagues always says, I can't find anything decent here. I need to get my peaches from my mama in Georgia. It's so funny how, you don't need to be from a different country, just be from a different state. Things are different. They taste different, we know this.
I eat black beans and rice and steak. That was my main meals.
Dish, yes.
But now I have people missing the corn couscous from the Northeast.
That we don't make it either, and then the people from the South bothering you to get their erva mate on time,
Oh yeah. And not only that, they want this particular flour that was called couscouzão. They also want the pan to make it, which is a very special pan.
Okay.
And it's called couscouzeiro.
No, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Okay.
And I had to go and find them. And when I found them, I put a little ad on Instagram. Not an ad, just a post. Say, now I have couscouzeira. And I sold it right away. Sold out.
That's good. So
and it was even challenging because I had to put it in a box.
I can imagine. Hope not to break it and all of that.
And not to break it. But as soon as the thing got there, the first one got there, the guy went to my WhatsApp because you can go to my site and click and they talk to me live. And just, he couldn't thank me enough. He's like, I'm from Bahia. I haven't had this in so long. And another interesting story, the the gummy things of called jujubas, jujubes, I guess.
Yeah.
There was a guy 3 days ago. He ordered 16 packages.
Okay.
That was everything I had. So it's like, okay, so I got a new delivered box. I got a delivery a couple days later.
Okay.
And I sell a lot of that. So he sent me a text yesterday. He says, "Hi, I got my stuff today. Do you have more?" I says, "I have more. I sold already like several boxes." I said, "I want to buy boxes that are closed. I want 80 of them." I said, "I don't have it." I'm a small shop. He said, "You don't understand. When your box got here, that was the first time I had this in 3 years. I just got emotional. I need more. I'm afraid you're going to disappear. I need to have this. I need this. I can't just be without it." I was like, "You know what? Next time I have my next delivery, I'm going to buy closed boxes and I'm going to call you before I put them on sale."
Yeah, so he can buy
and they're yours. And they're yours because now I'm worried.
That makes a huge difference. And I have to say, people will be really, really happy. So tell us before we go. So I know we'll be talking for 8 hours, but we have to be nice to the people who are listening to us so they want to come back and they want to listen to more. Your store is thingsofbrazil.com.
Correct.
Okay. Instagram, Things of
Things
Brazil.
of Brazil store.
Store. Okay.
Yeah.
They can find you there at any time. I promise I will ask people not to call you late or super early because we're in different time zones, right? And sometimes...
And if you go to thingsofbrazil.com, there's a chat button there. You can ask me questions. We're always on 7 days a week. And it will be a pleasure.
That's so nice. That's so nice. Mauro, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. We'll keep on talking. Keep on writing the stories. Write them down so we know in the future too, how can... And also it will be nice to talk to you in a few months to see how it has changed from the beginning through where... Because you will face new challenges, I bet you. Just like how the guy wants a full box to himself. Yeah. You're going to have more different... It's nice when you get to know people and you get their stories. But thank you so much again. We greatly appreciate you being here. And
you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Sure. Before you go, okay, so couscous is something good that we can make on the menu. What else? Tapioca?
We have tapioca. We have
cheese bread.
We have several kinds of farofa and the flours to make farofa as well. We have the one ready, and we have black beans. We have the beans they call carioquinha, which is the rest of Brazil that loves it.
Yes.
We have the guaraná drink. We have a lot. We have everything that you miss.
Okay, yes. So we'll make barbecue one day with everything on it.
We even have the salt, the rock salt, the Brazilian one.
Very good. It's the best, I have to tell you. Yeah, there's nothing that compares to rock salt from Brazil. And, for us gauchos, it's the best thing to put on meat. So, yes. So thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And we'll see you next time.